Welcome everyone, welcome one and all. Greetings, Mike here with Sci-Fi and More Express, and welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, welcome to our Team Sci-Fi family, where nostalgic positivity reigns supreme. I was looking around the other day doing some research on writing for science fiction. I suspect we probably have some aspiring sci-fi writers that subscribe to the channel, and I found a channel called Noblecopy that had a video really kind of basic and really kind of simple insights to get started, and I thought it was very well done, and I thought the information was pretty good, so I've attached that here for you to check out. And I also found a couple of other interesting links. One was from the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum, and that's a much more comprehensive breakdown of how to write for sci-fi. And then I found a guy named Brandon Sanderson who does lectures on writing, and I've attached his first lecture in the description below for you to check it out if you want to get some insights on how to write for sci-fi. And this guy, Brandon Sanderson, has a number of these videos, so if you're interested, I'll put the copy of his channel down in the description as well. Guys, enjoy the video. For our aspiring writers out there, I really wish you the best. I need some new material to read myself, so get on it. All right, guys, until the next one, have a great galactic day.
How to write science fiction. Okay, well, any sci-fi writer, any writer in general, they should always start off with what if, right? And the reason you want to start off a story with what if is because it helps to jolt the imagination. And in my opinion, no other genre of storytelling really demands a massive original imagination like science fiction does. The idea. Okay, writers of the science fiction genre should always attempt a new idea, okay, because there's, you know, countless science fiction stories, books, and movies out there, and, you know, a lot of times everything has been done to death, right? So what you want to try to do is you want to try to come up with something original, something new, something that people haven't really seen yet, okay? So that should be your goal, is to always try to find something new, a new story that you want to tell. Now, the idea can be, in the science fiction genre, can be usually technological or some type of like otherworldly idea. Now, when I mean technological, I mean some type of AI robotics here on Earth. Otherworldly, I mean like time travel or aliens, something like that, something in the sci-fi genre. And it must affect the characters in a philosophical way. Now, that is the original part that science fiction has as compared to any other genre, is that it can really ask the what if question. So we're back to the what if again. How does it affect the characters? And more importantly, how is it going to affect the reader? Okay, so when the reader is done with the science fiction novel that you wrote, right, how is it going to change them, right? Is it going to make them look at like technology in a different way, or some type of futuristic event in a different way? It should. Right, so your storytelling, your sci-fi storytelling, should definitely have an effect that changes the way the reader looks at the future. And a science fiction idea usually challenges social issues. You can choose a specific social issue that is important to you, right, and incorporate that into a science fiction story. You may have to, you know, tweak something or change something to make it somewhat impossible for the moment, but plausible for the future. But you can do it. Let's say what would happen for a social issue. Let's say what would happen, you know, if aliens landed on Earth. You know, how would society treat that? You know, would everybody go crazy, or would they greet them? I don't think so. But what about time travel? How would society handle that? You know, would they welcome it, right? Or would they be afraid of it? And especially AI. I mean, this is probably the most realistic one that'll eventually be here sooner than later, I would say, is artificial intelligence, right? Is, you know, what would happen if they overcame humans? You know what I mean? I mean, what happens if they become the dominant, you know, force on Earth? You know, it's like what would the ramifications be of that? The world, and what I mean by the world is world building. Okay, so this is very important. This is critical to your science fiction story, because this will encompass every single little detail that your characters are in. Okay. So think of Blade Runner, right? Think of AI, the Steven Spielberg movie, right? Those worlds were so specific, they were so detailed, and every element of it attributed to the realness of the story, right? So when you watch those movies, people don't question that type of future. They look at it and they're like, oh, well, the writer and the filmmakers definitely knew what they were doing when they made this story. Now, about the setting, right, like I was just saying with those two movies, what type of technology is used? Okay, what does it look like? What is the landscape like? Is the environment different? Okay, these are all important details that your world has to look like when you write your science fiction novel, right? Is it like a dystopian novel? Is it a utopian novel, right? These things have to be thought out, you know, in great detail when you go to write it. How has the Earth changed? Was there a war, right? Was there a war? Now this is the after the war. Is everything all messed up? Okay. How is your science fiction novel going to treat that, the after effects of war? Okay, is a certain technology going to come in that's going to make everything better or make everything worse? And how do people act now, right? So how do people act in your world, right? Are they more separated, right? Are they more integrated? Are they more introverts because everything is so technological that people don't really have to deal with one another? You know, they could just deal with people online. Maybe it's some type of like matrix, you know, like a simulacrum, where it's not really real, people don't have to deal with other people. You know, those are all good possibilities. Are they too dependent on technology? And the character is the last part. So your science fiction novel, right, should be your idea versus your main character, right? And the point, the moral of the story should be the outcome, should be the journey and the outcome of the idea and the main character. How is that new idea going to affect the main character, right? And not just affect the main character throughout, but more importantly is how is it going to affect the main character at the very end, right? That's going to be the last thing that the reader takes away. Is like, oh, okay, well, did the character suffer through the entire novel and then, you know, overcome whatever problems that the science fiction has made? Okay, well, if they live at the end, then it sends this message to the reader, right? If they die, if the main character dies at the end of a science fiction novel, then it's going to send a different message to the reader. That's very important. If you're interested in watching any more of my videos, you can check out right here and right here.